Well, what I think's one thing I've noticed just about cars is that have you noticed that all cars look the same now? Like they've all got that sort of soft feminine look. They're all like these like little bubbles. Like the Ford Mustang kind of car, or like if you're from a council estate in the northeast, it's the Ford Capri. But it doesn't matter. At least it had its own distinctive look, and it had a kind of masculine look to it as well. And yet, all of the cars that I see, I don't know which one's which anymore, and they're all of these very soft, very feminine sort of little bubble things, and they're all and I think and they all look exactly the same as well. Some of them are bigger bubbles than others, but they mainly all just look the same now. And I've actually asked people, because I don't know anything about cars either, and they're saying that it's the limits of what you can do with taking in mind it's got to be eco-friendly. There's all of these safety regulations. The car can only go so fast. It has to be so efficient, and so that the kind of the design is being shoved into a very little box. There's not many options available for a car designer. The form of so in another 20 or 30 years, like pretty much all cars will look absolutely identical because they're not really allowed to change, and it's this pure standardization which has really kicked in over the last 20 years as well, I think. And it's like another layer to how everything blurs into each other, and you can't distinguish one thing from another in the end of history.
Mm. I think that it's not just a matter of, I mean, yes, that there probably are considerations to do with the what you just said, but I think it's, what you can do with the materials and all that, and the environmental protocols, that kind of thing. But I think it's more interesting to look at it from the point of view of just gradual, I don't know, cultural emptiness, because it seems to have affected everything else. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the stream with the Survive the Jive and others, that I think we need cultural renewal, because our culture has been basically on sort of on ice for, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, I was just looking at the chat. Can you imagine if Steve Martin was to remake Bullet, and instead of like screaming away from the police and hunting people down in the Ford Mustang, he had one of these little puffy bubble things, an eco-friendly bubble thing that they make now? It just wouldn't be the same. So there's that masculine trait's being removed as well. But the cultural renewal is that's a big, and that's something I get into a lot. And I think the car thing's tied to it, but there's the designers are constrained for a car in a lot of ways. They are with culture, I mean, the new Star Wars films being shot down in flames. Everything's a remake. Everything's a rehash. There's no creativity there. And, the people who run the culture, the Hollywood, this kind of argument, well, it's because they're really smart. And you think, no, well, everything they do is being shot down in flames. Everything they do is crap. It's because their smart argument is a total shambles. We've never had such bad entertainment. Ash, the people like Ash Sarkar or Zoe Williams in The Guardian are just obvious liars, because one day they'll come out with an article and it'll say there's no such thing as the white working class. We're all this universal proletariat. But then the very next day, that clique will publish another article, and it'll be about how backwards and bigoted and gammon the English working class are, and they need to get on board with the new progressive utopia. So they speak with forked tongue. They're blatant liars. They're blatant hypocrites, and it's cost them. It's just a shame that you can't actually make them just fuck off. Like, they're still propped up. They're still mouthpieces. If you had ideas, it's getting back to the free marketplace of ideas. How much bullshit do these people have to come out with before somebody says, "Here, look, mate, you're talking utter bollocks. Everything you've said for the last 5 years has been fucking wrong. Get out of the studio, you're fucking fired, you useless bum." But it never happens to them. Owen Jones has been wrong on everything all of his life. Why is he? What are the qualifications of being in the British media when you're wrong? Like, your career is being wrong all of the time. It's unbelievable. You'd think you could, you know what it is? Your opinions have been wrong every time you step foot in this this studio. Pack your bags and fuck off, mate. You're useless.
Well, if only I would love to hear someone saying that to Owen Jones.